Thank you so much for those kind words. I have an incredibly easy job this morning. Is this still on? I have an incredibly easy job this morning because this panel is very distinguished and brings an absolutely remarkable set of experiences here. We have 6 speakers coming from 4 countries, India, Mexico, here as well, the United States too. But before, I wanted to take a very brief moment, since we're here this morning, to talk about talent and thank some very, very talented people who are here in the room who are making this all possible. And those are, of course, the translators, who I can see you on the balcony up there, are working very, very hard in order for us all to understand each other here this morning. And let's just give them a quick round of applause, if we could. Thank you to the translators. And for me, that comes from my heart, because unfortunately among my talents is not a knowledge of the Spanish language, for which I apologize. Balin introduced the Lisbon Council very generously, and thank you so much for that. We are a think tank and policy network based in Brussels. We have as our mission the famous Lisbon strategy of the European Union to make Europe the most competitive and dynamic knowledge-based economy in the world, capable of sustainable economic growth with more and better jobs and greater social cohesion. That's been our mission statement since we were founded in 2003, working as a think tank to flush out these ideas. And the work has taken us very deeply into talent, human capital, and issues of that type. And I can only welcome and applaud, first of all, the organizers' work in bringing you all here today, but also your work, because we are all busy people, and it's a real sign of your commitment to this cause that you took time out of your busy schedules to come and share your wisdom with us today. I wanted very briefly just to give 3 lessons that we've learned at the Lisbon Council about some of the things we're talking about today. What it is that's worked for us. The first lesson is a pretty simple one, and that is that individuals matter. We found, and there were only 3 of us in the beginning. One of my co-founders, Ann Metler, is here with us today. There's a 3rd co-founder, Tjark de Lange, in the Netherlands. We had no idea whether this was going to work or not. The Lisbon Council could have lasted 2 weeks and never been heard from again. But for those of you who follow our activities, it's grown really very dynamically and fantastically. And I don't say that as a point of pride, although I am, of course, very proud of what we've done. What I see rather is just the need for an institution and an organization of this type, and the fact that actually a handful of people can make a difference. Margaret Mead, the famous anthropologist, once said, "Never doubt that if a handful of people can change the world, indeed it's the only thing that ever has." So I want to leave you with that thought, to think that even though the issues we talk about are large, as individuals, all of you can make a difference. The second principle I wanted to mention is a pretty obvious one, which is that 1,000 minds are better than one. Even though individuals do count, if we can all come together and share our wisdom in ways that we are doing today, we can grow stronger, we can grow better, and it's precisely through that collaboration that change does come about in the world. And finally, the third one, something we've heard a little bit about this morning already. Reality begins with faith and commitment. You cannot change the world unless you believe in something. You cannot change it unless you have a vision. And I think that's a very important part of what we are here to talk about today. The importance of talent, the role of talent, the way in which cultivating the individual, somewhat paradoxically, will make us all stronger as a collective and a team and a civilization. I mentioned that my job was very easy. Before we turn to the panelists, I'd just like to make 2 brief announcements. I don't know if any of you in the room here are using Twitter, the social networking website, but we have started a hashtag for the meeting here. The hashtag, for those of you who know what that is #AgoraTalentia, #AGORATALENTIA. It's going very strong already, and if those of you who are able to use this technologies would like to join us in the online community that we've built today already around this meeting, we look forward to reading your tweets. The one problem I do have is that we're running a bit behind schedule, and we have 6 very distinguished speakers, so I'm going to have to ask you all to be brief, despite the horrendous example that I just set myself. We had you down for 12 minutes each. I'm going to have to ask you if you can keep it to 10. I won't become too rude or boisterous about your presentation unless you go on beyond 12. But let's use this discipline as an advantage to really go right to the heart of the matter. And please, let me just thank you again for being here, for sharing your wisdom with us, and for all of the things that we're going to see and hear. Rather than introducing you each individually, I'll just go in turn, because I think it's easier for those of you in the room to remember. We'll start, of course, with Sam Lipson, the Director of Environmental Health at the Cambridge Public Health Department. Sam is a remarkable man, as I've learned in several conversations over the last 48 hours. He's come a long way to be with us, and wait till you hear what he has to say about how they've approached issues of talent and individual fulfillment, and the role of individual fulfillment in society at large in the municipality of Cambridge in the United States. Sam, the floor is yours.